Good day and welcome. Today we will look at factors using our calculator to find the factors of an expression without any difficulty and to minimize the time that we spend on solving equations. Our expression that we need to factorize today is 2x cubed plus 3x squared plus 3x plus 8. Normally we would use the factor theorem and calculate f of 1. We would calculate f of 2. We would calculate f of 3 by substituting 1 in there and calculating the value, substituting 2 and calculating the value, substituting 3 and calculating the value, until we get a result of 0. Then we know that number that I substituted is a factor. Now that is a long and tedious process. We can use our calculator to minimize the time that we spend to calculate that very first factor, because to calculate the others then becomes relatively easy. So firstly we go to the calculator and we select the table method. This opens my alphanumeric keys to type in a function. So my function is 2 alpha x to the power of 3. I press out and I say plus 3 alpha x to the power of 2 plus 3 alpha x and minus 8. Now I have my function. The calculator sometimes gives me a second option to do another function. In this case we don't have another function. We just need to factorize the one. So where do I want to start? I want to start at -6. Where do I want to end? I want to end at +6. And I want to do it in steps of 1. Now if you are doing a trig function, it will be sine, cos and tan. So these increments would be in steps of 30 or steps of 45. Depending on your range of values. So for example, if a range of -360 to +360, you would ideally like it in steps of 90 or 45, but you do also from -360 to 0, do that part first and then do to 360 on another time, be that as it may. So now I have captured my information. I want to do it in steps of 1. And I calculate, and the calculator will now display to me a table of contents. So my x values is given and my y values is given. And all I need to do, I scroll down until I see the value that renders a 0. If y is 0, that means that is one of my x-intercepts. Now if x is 1, y is 0. So that means x was -1. X minus 1 was the factor. I can firstly copy my table that the calculator has generated into a table of values so that I can plot my graph from here with relative ease. My next step would be to find the other factors. So there's different ways of going about with it. Firstly, I can go about by finding the ABC method using synthetic division or long division. I first would like to do the ABC method. So let's go about by saying, what do I have to multiply with x to get 2x cubed? I need to multiply 2x squared with x to get 2x cubed. Then I ask myself, what do I have to multiply with -1 to get -8? I must multiply +8 to get a result of -8. Now for the c that I need to find, I need to say to myself, -1 times 2 will give me -2x squared. I need 3x squared. That means I need to add another 5x squared. So this number multiplied with this number will give me the x squared that I'm looking for. So I need another 5x squared. So I will place my c value as 5x. I can test this by saying -1 times 5 will give me 5x, and x multiplied by 8 will give me 8x. Negative 5x plus 8x has got a difference of positive 3x, and that is the other term. That confirms that the factor I have here is legit. Now, if I look at this factor, I can already see that it does not matter which factors I use of 2 and of 8. It will never render a 5 to me. So, these other two factors will be non-real, meaning it won't touch the x-axis again. This one will touch the x-axis, but these ones will either be in the air or they will be at the bottom of the line, but it won't touch the x-axis again. Alternatively, I could have chosen to do synthetic division, and when I do synthetic division, I only use the coefficients and the numbers that I populate. So it's 2, 3, 3, and -8. The factor that rendered a 0 was 1. I place 1 down as the divider. So firstly, the 2 comes down as is. 1 multiplied by 2 is positive 2. 3 plus 2 gives me 5. 1 multiplied by 5 gives me 5. 3 plus 5 gives me 8. 1 multiplied by 8 gives me 8. 8 minus 8 renders 0, so there's no remainder. So 2x squared, 5x, and 8. Those are that forms the factor that remains. Remember, I'm dividing by x minus 1. So x cubed will now become x squared. That will become x, and that will be x to the power of 0. So my factors will be x minus 1 into 2x squared plus 5x plus